TelecomTV, where ICT connects.
Hello, this is TelecomTV. I'm Martyn Warwick. I'm at the SDN and Openflow World Congress 2013 in a place called Bad Homburg in Germany, which is a spa town not that far from Frankfurt. I'm talking with Martyn Finlayson of Metaswitch. Matthew, welcome.
Hello.
You have a big booth here at the show, and you're doing an NFV demo with a company called SDN. Tell us about that.
Sure. I mean, we do, historically, a lot of the business for our networking part of our company has been through developing high-quality protocol stacks, very, very scalable, designed for sort of virtualization and portability. And the way they found their way into carrier networks has been through licensing to OEMs, and they've brought out hardware about that, hardware based on them. Increasingly, what we're expecting is for that technology to get to the market through software applications. So what we've been trying to do at the show is show a couple of ways that can be done and the sort of benefits you can get from it. So what we're doing with SDN are demonstrating their new NFV orchestration environment, and we've supplied them with BGP route reflector application. Shows how you can take BGP, OSPF, ISIS stacks, bundle them together and run it within a VM or potentially on bare metal, and provide the service providers with some very scalable, very flexible functionality, in this case route reflector.
Thank you. And you're also doing a demo, carrier SDN. Tell us about that as well.
Yeah, sure. This is again in the same light. It's showing the sort of ways you can take existing technology and really get even better benefits out of it in the new worlds. So within carrier SDN, one of the big challenges that the carriers face is no site is a greenfield site. They have huge amounts of deployed technology. There is a need to work with that, to interact with existing networks and so on. And what we're showing is how you can take protocol stacks like OSPF, MPLS, and so on, embed them within a carrier SDN controller, and use that to provide interoperability between SDN domains and legacy domains. So the sort of benefits you can get, obviously you can get topology transfer between those two domains and seamless routing between them. You can also start layering MPLS and pipes and things like that across the existing domain. One of the really important things there is that it means that the carrier can deploy just a few network nodes initially around the edges, which are simple open-flow switches, and we can then provide MPLS tunnels starting from those all the way through their existing core network.
Thank you. Let's move from the very specific to the slightly more generalised. Can you tell me whether, when, and how SDN will benefit carriers?
It's a very broad question.
It is.
I mean, initially SDN started in the data centres, and they've seen lots and lots of benefits there, particularly trying to provide flexibility at the huge scale that they're dealing with. Carriers arguably need to have even more requirements for the sort of benefits, the OPEX reductions, the flexibility and so on, but they're facing even more problems, both at the business level and also at the technology level. As I was saying earlier, the first problem that the carriers face is that SDN, that they have a huge deployed legacy deployments, and that SDN needs to be able to interact with that. So they have to talk with that. The second thing is that carriers are far more complicated networks than data centers have. Maybe the scale is different, not necessarily smaller, but different. But you're talking about far more bottlenecks and heterogeneity of equipment. There's simply lots of challenges that need to do that. And right now, we're in the process of trying to rough out how that's going to work, develop the protocols, develop the technology, and also start to look into the business arrangements. And that's sort of somewhere where things really haven't become clear at this point. The carriers are saying they want to take best of breed solutions, taking technology from different areas, breaking sort of one vendor dominance. But they haven't really started to look at how that's going to work at a business level? Who are the relationships going to be with? There are probably very few carriers who have the ability to do all of that systems integration or development themselves. And those are the sorts of things that we're going to be seeing really be worked out and developed over the next year or so.
Thank you. What about what's happening now? What steps are carriers currently taking towards deploying SDN in their networks as we speak?
Right now, I think it's split. Some carriers are trying to do some fairly large projects within particular areas. More of them, though, are trying to do some sort of niche applications. Either roll out a new service that they can have some fairly good control over, or solve a problem, provide some optimization and so on that could be achieved in other ways, but they're prioritizing SDN. And the reasons they're doing that are probably twofold. First thing, we need to develop the technology, as I was saying earlier. We need to work out how to do that, how you're going to interact with the sorts of management systems, the sorts of diagnostics and so on that the service providers need. They want to be able to experiment with that. They also want to try out these sort of business relationships. So right now you are seeing genuine projects, but they are in lots of small specific domains.
How long do you think before they get out into the wider network environment?
We're seeing a few already within those sort of ranges. So I think over the course of early 2014, throughout 2014, I think a lot of the carriers are talking about let's roll out these specific projects and then let's regroup after that. And we're going to see more significant rollouts following that time frame.
Excellent. Matthew Finlayson, thank you very much indeed.
TelecomTV, where ICT connects.